This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, good evening. Okay, let us start. So we have seen in the previous class the network. So today let us look the one of the main functionality of network, which is scheduling. So also before going into SAP scheduling, let's look the basic concept of scheduling, what is scheduling, how it works and all. Then we will jump into SAP. Okay. So as we know that these are the main tool which we are using, right? As project management tool, project charter, or you can say document, then work breakdown structure, then network diagram. So again, we have seen this project network diagram. It's a pictorial representation. Okay, that's what we are going to do it. And we have seen this also the previous class we discussed about these two type of network, AOA, activity on arrow, and activity on node. And also we said there is a different names, ADM, arrow diagram method, or PDM, precedence diagram method. Now, when you are talking about network building, there are certain rules which we need to follow. Okay, that is important when we are talking about when we need to really want to do the dates planning and scheduling and all those things. So these are the some of the basic things which we need to follow. First thing is list all the activities, that is important. Okay, then second thing is arrange them into a precedence table. So we'll show you what is precedence table. Then these are the other important things when you make them connect. We were talking about the dependency which we are connecting. So in this list of activities, there should be a starting point. Okay, so always there should be a starting point. Then there is an end point. So first is, so when you arrange it properly, so there will be a starting point and there will be an end point. Then all activities have predecessors. So obviously starting point will not have predecessor because this is the starting point. Then second thing is all activities have a successors. So again here the exception is for the end point there won't be any successor, but the rest of them will have successor. Then the network must be kept up to date. Okay, that is we have to do it as and do. And there is some concept called loop. There are no loops available. So what does it loop means? So when you schedule or when you connect when you maintain the relationships or when you connect activities, so it should not come back to the starting point. For example, if I connect like this, then it should go from starting to the end. Not it should not come back to the starting point again. So that kind of relationship which is coming back, so that is we normally known as loop. Okay, so which we will show you in the system when we are talking about. So this is an example of a network diagram and a precedence table. So here what you are seeing, this is a precedence table. So this is important. First you need to list down all the activities, then you maintain the predecessor. So this is what we call it as a precedence table. First we bring activity number or activity ID. So if it is an SAP, we'll have 10, 20, 30, that is the numbering which normally we follow. Then the description, then the duration, the normal duration, how many days that's required. Then we have to specify for each what is the precedence. For example, this one, A1 precedence is PA, A2 also PA, A3 also PA. It means all these are starting parallelly. Okay, that is the reason. That is the reason you'll have a same predecessor. So these are parallel activities. Then A3, A4, P4, A1. You can see that. So this way you maintain the details. So that is we call it as a precedence table. So what is the purpose is that when you do that and do a scheduling, then system shows you the critical path. So the critical path method normally we talk about in project scheduling. So this is what it happens when you connect them. When you give the dependencies for all the activities, then you connect it together. Then when you do a scheduling, then not only in SAP, even in any system, so it will be able to give you the critical path. So this critical path, for example, what you are seeing, it's a dot. It is just a pictorial representation. This dot, this is an original critical path. Suppose if this is the way when you initially connected, you got it. Later on, if you make some kind of changes, for example, here, this AABB, so here it is finished to start, that we change it to start to start. So if you are making some kind of changes, then what happens? The critical path, it keeps on changing it. You can see now it is a triangle, it's going on this way. So it means the critical path. So what is that here the trying to represent here? The critical path depends on the how you are maintaining the relationships and dependencies. So whenever you make some changes in the dependency, accordingly the critical path will be keeps on changing it. So this is what normally the formula which we need to follow while creating the network. Keep it simple and straightforward. So it should be simple. So that is the reason we said in the previous session we talk about that there should not be more than 10,000 activity altogether in a project, and there should not be more than 500 in a single network, right? And don't create all as activity. You can create activity elements as well for micro level details. So all those details you need to consider it. So that's why I said we have to make it very simple and straightforward. So now let me just explain you how the critical path is calculated. Okay, so let me just take an example. So schedules, let's see here, activity, let us take an example of SAP implementation, then we can go for that. Okay, so let's take an example. Okay, suppose this is a list of activities which you require to for a implementation, SAP implementation. Then these are the duration. Say, suppose I am put it in weeks. Okay, 1 week, 3 week, 2 weeks. So anyway, a day or a week. As far as the all are in the same unit, then it won't make any difference. So let's consider these are weeks. So here first there will be an initiation. Okay, then after that we have BBP. So BBP for FICO, BBP for MM, PS, SD. Then configurations for all modules. Then after that there will be a system integration testing. Then after that it will go live. Suppose these are very high level activities. So now first what we need to prepare is we need to maintain the predecessor for this. Okay, that is what the initial things what we need to do. So here suppose this is the first activity, so there won't be any predecessor. So for example here BBP. So BBP, if you want to start, then what is the predecessor? It should be 10, right? So after initiation, you can start the BBP for FICO. Then what about MM? Yes, MM also you can start parallelly because it's not that you don't need to wait for FICO BBP workshops to start the MM. So you can start it parallelly. So this is also will start it based on 10. Then same thing for the other module. Then same thing for this module also. So these are the activities. Now configuration of MM. So if I want to start the MM configuration, then my MM BBP has to be completed. So for this, the predecessor is 30. Now FICO, it will be 20. For PS, it will be 40. Then configuration of this, it will be 50. Okay. Now, if I want to start system integration testing, all the configuration need to be completed, right? So here, what are the predecessor will be? The predecessors will be, all this will be predecessor because configuration MM need to be finished, FICO need to be finished, PS should be finished, SD should be finished. So here it comes 60, 70, 80, 90. So as long as this is concerned, here it will be all the 4 activity has to be completed. So that is as a predecessor. Now the go live, here this is the final one. So for here, what will be the predecessor? 100. So once 100 is there, then this will be there. Now based on this relationship, if I make a schedule, how the system or how we will be able to calculate the critical path. That's what we need to look into it. Okay. So let's take this as an activity. This, let us take it here. Okay, so let's say this one. Now let us remove this to, then let me add. So let's say, let me add some, make it smaller. Okay, 3. Okay, let me just select some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, says 20 columns. I make it 3, so it will be easy to understand. Okay, so this is the, let's say this is our area where we need to maintain it. Then let's say this is how the week 1, week 2, week 3, like that. So this is the week numbers. So normally it will be dates, right? When you're creating a schedule, you normally put the dates here. So here I just, for a generic purpose, I just put it as a week. Okay, so now let's talk about this initiation. So initiation is 1 week. So let's say this is, let's say 1 week. Now we have BBP. BBP is 3 weeks. BBP for 3 weeks, but it starts after this. After the 10, it starts. So 1, 2, 3. BBP for MM, that is 2 weeks, also starts from here after this. Now we have BBP for PS, same 2 weeks, starts also here. Now BBP for SD, which is 1 week, it starts also here. Okay. Now we have configuration for MM, which starts after MM BBP. So here, after this, and it goes for 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Now we have configuration of FICO. So it starts from here. Then that also goes for 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Then we have the configuration of PS, which is 3 weeks. It starts after this. So it starts from here to 3 weeks. Then we have configuration SD, which is 2 weeks, so which starts after here. So now we have SIT for 2 weeks, but it should start after all this finish. So what is the longest? So this is the end. So from here, it will take for 2 weeks. So now this is a 1 week. So after this, it will take 1 week. So when you do a relationship, this is what happens. So here, if you look at here, what are the activities? So if you look at the maximum period, so this is our maximum period, right? This is our maximum period of schedule. So how many weeks? So it is 11 weeks. So if you look at here, so these are the so this is what happens. So these are the weeks, which is the total duration. But if you look at the total duration is here, actually there is a man days or man weeks of 25 weeks are required, total man days, or you can say how many weeks are there. Each man which is required, 25 working weeks are required. But the project duration is only 11 weeks. So this is the purpose of doing the scheduling. So from the man days, or for how many days are required. For example, if you say 25 man days, but when you do a scheduling, you can do that within 11 working days because of the scheduling. So you are doing some activity parallel. Now, if you look at these details clearly, you will come to know that there are some activity which decides this duration. Okay, not all. For example, this is important. So whatever is important, I will change it to red. Okay. Then here this is also important. Okay, and this here this is also important. Okay, and here this is also important because it's starting from here. And if you look at here this way, this is also important. Actually, this plus this plus this plus this plus this is equal to this, right? 1 plus 3, 4, 4 plus 4, 8, or 2 plus 1. So these are the activities which decides the total duration of a project. So the activity which decides the total duration of a project, which we call it as a critical activity, and the activity which comes in that path, we known as critical path. So this is the critical path.
Abdul, how we can identify the critical path and the normal path? Any?
No, SAP will come to that one. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
First,
okay.
you understand the concept, whether what is critical path and how it is calculated, you got it or not. Okay, so this is how the critical path is calculated. Clear? Okay, so now let me go back to the slides. So again, scheduling also depends on these two. Basic data is important. Then network is important. Now these are the different dates available in SAP. Okay, so set of dates. We have basic dates, forecast dates, actual dates are available. Then we have planning form, scheduling. So these are relevant for the dates. So if you look at any project, these are the different type of dates available. For example, if you look at the project definition, then you have basic dates. Then WBS element, you have basic dates and forecast dates, scheduled dates and actual dates. When it comes to network header, we have basic dates, scheduled dates, actual dates. Then the network activity, if you look at it, there are constraints, earliest scheduled date, latest scheduled dates, and actual dates. Then when it comes to activity element, we have earliest scheduled date, latest scheduled date, and actual date. So what does it mean? So whatever the date you are seeing in bold or this color, greenish color, which is called manual planning dates, which means you can manually enter it, control it. Whatever is you are seeing it in italics, those are system calculated dates because we do not have a control on that one. So how the system is calculating, basically when you do a relationship like this, so system will automatically decide these dates. Okay, so that will come to that one, what is the methodology. So that is how the system dates are calculated to it. So if you look at this different object, mostly network activity and activity element, even WBS element also have the scheduled dates. You can do that. You can extrapolate it from the network activity. So this is the different things which is involved in the scheduling. Okay, there is always earliest, latest date relationship calculation is there in scheduling. Okay, then there is during the scheduling, system will calculate what is your capacity, work requirement. Then also it decides what is the dates for the activity element if you have an activity element. Then it is also, if you have a milestone attached with, we have not taken the milestone, show you that milestone takes, then that also decides during scheduling. And also if you have a material attached to it, it also decides what is the requirement date of material. Then similarly float. Anyway, we'll explain what is float, then scheduled, and all those things starts. So now here, if you can see, there is something called forward scheduling, backward scheduling. Okay, this one I will tell you later. Forward scheduling and backward scheduling. So there is a different way of scheduling the things. Now, just want to explain how system calculates earliest latest date, then what is float, then what is forward scheduling and backward scheduling. Okay. So let me just take my previous data again. I'll explain. Same thing. Okay. So let's put the date. Suppose this is the activities. Okay. Then we need to put a start date. Let's say put the start date is 07/2020. Suppose this is the 1st July. I want to start the project. So now based on this one, I need to find out what is my finish date. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do it here. So let us remove all these things. Okay. So let's say this is 1 week. Okay. So for example, starting date is 01/07/20. So what will be the finish date? So if I look at here, the next month. So if I'm starting from 1st, then after 1 week, it will be 7, right? So it will be 07/07/20. Now, the starting date for this, what will be the, it will be the next day, right? 08/07/20. Then starting date for this also will be the same thing because it is all starting together. Agreed? This all will start after this. Now, the finish date will be different. For example, here it will be 3 weeks. So if I look at here, it is starting 8. So it will be 14, then 21, then 28, right? So it will be 28/07/20. 3 weeks. If it is 2 weeks, what will be the date? If it is 2 weeks, so 8, so 14, then 21. 21/07/20. If it is 2 weeks, this will be the same date. Okay. Then here it is just because of 1 week, so it will be 14, right? 14/07/20. Now, here, what will be the starting date of this? So starting date will be the next day of the previous activity, right? So our ending of MM is 21. So the starting of this will be 22/07/20. Then starting of this will be configuration of FICO. So that is FICO is finished on 28/7. So it will be 29/7/20. Now PS, it will start next day of that one. So it is again 21. So it will be 22/07/20. Now here configuration of SD. Okay. SD is ending on 14. So it will start on 15. So this is the relationships. Now we need to find the date here. Okay. So here it is 4 weeks. So it will be, obviously it is starting with 22 of next month. So 22, 1 week, 2 weeks, 4th of August. So it will be 18th. So 4 weeks means 18th of 08/20. So if it is starting 20 the next week, so it will be the next week. So since it is starting after 1 week, so for example, if I say it will be 25th. Then here also 18th. Then here it will be 15 plus 2. So 15, 21, 28 of the same month. So now if I want to calculate the date here, starting date here, because it's relevant for all these 4. So from this 4, which is the highest, then it will be the next day of that highest one. So if you look at here, the highest one is 25/8. Okay. So the starting of this one will be 26/08/20. The highest one is 26. Then after 2 weeks, so if I look at the August, 26, so it will be 1 to 8. So it will be 8th of September. So 08, 09, 20. And here it will start on 09, 09, 20. Then it will be 16, I think, right? Yeah, 16th of 16 will be our end date. So if I look at here, my starting date will be 01/07/20. If I start with 20, then I will end with 16/09/20. Okay, so the calculation, if you want to calculate it, so it will be 7/1/2020. It will be 9/16/2020. So this is how we need to calculate. So it is 77 days. So that's what we calculated today here, 11 weeks. Okay. So this way, calculating the date. So now what I did, I have calculated the date from starting to the end. So I moved forward. So this kind of calculation in scheduling, which is known as forward pass. So if I look at this this picture, so normally what we need to do, this kind of network, you can do a forward calculation, and after that also you can do a backward calculation. So normally any network, it is always calculated forward and backward. So what we calculated forward, which is known as earliest date. So this date which we are receiving on the network activity due to the forward calculation, that we call it as a earliest date. So these are the earliest date. Now what we understood, that to calculate the earliest date, we need a starting point. So we need a start date. So start date is required. So end date will be calculated based on the forward pass method. Now we need to calculate the latest date. So to calculate the latest date, what we need is, we need to calculate it backward. Okay. So here what I will do, my starting point will be this one. This is I got the end date of this. From here I have to calculate back. So obviously this will be the same, right? And this will be the same because there is no other activity. And sorry, this one will be the same. Okay. Now we have configuration of SD. So now SD, it should start the next day. So it will start from next day behind, right? 25/08/20. Then we have to reduce 2 weeks. So it will be, if I look at here, from 25/8, so it will come 70, so it will come to 19 and 12. Okay, so it will be 19, so it will be 12. So it will come back to 12/08/20. Now here, this is also relationship is directly taking from here. Okay, so here the date is it also should start from here 18. Okay, now what it will calculate, it will be again 3 weeks. So let us go to that. August, so 25, 19, 12, 5. So it will be 05/08/20. So now if you look at here these two activities, okay, do you find anything difference? This date and this date is different. This date and this date is different. You can see that. So the date which is calculated this way backward, which is known as latest date. So date is calculated forward, that is called as earliest date. So now I can calculate all the date like this. For example, here also my starting will be the same thing. So here at my starting will be the same thing. And this will be the same thing because it is just calculating the same, right? 29/07/20. Now here also I will calculate it on 25/08/20. Then this will be also again 18 was there, 18/1 is going to be 5, so it will also be 05. No, it is 4 weeks, right? So it will be again here. 29/7. Now, when we are talking about this SD date, so SD is after the configuration. So it is finishing it 12. So it will be 11. So from 11, how many weeks? 1 week. So 11/8, it will be, let's look at it. So 11, so it will be 5, right? It will be 05/08/20. So now we are talking about this PS. So the PS is here, configuration of PS, it is 5/8, so it will be 4/8. Then after that 4/8, we need how many weeks back? 2 weeks. So if I look at here, 4/8, so it will be 20, 29, 29 to 22, 22/07/20. Now we are talking about this. What is the date? MM configuration finishes 29/7, so it will be 28/07/20. Then with the 2 weeks, so 28/7, so it will be 22, so it will be 15/07/20. Then here we are talking about FICO when it finishes configuration on 29/7, so it will be also 28/7, and the starting will be 0/8/7 because it has 3 weeks, so it will be the same date, and this will be the same date. So again, you can find some dates. For example, these dates are similar, okay, and these dates are similar. So for example, if I take this, these dates will be like this, and these dates will be like this. So anything you understood? So in any scheduling, whenever you do a schedule, so there will be two sets of dates, which is earliest date and latest date. It is calculated, earliest date is calculated through a forward pass. It means considering a starting date, then it will calculate up to the end based on the duration and relationship. And based on this, it will then for the latest date, which is calculated based on a backward pass. So the backward pass will start from the finishing date, then it will calculate and come back to the starting date. So backward pass, the system calculates certain date, which is known as latest date. And so we'll have any scheduling, we have earliest date and latest date. But here we talk about certain activities which we call it as a critical activities because it falls under critical path, because these are the activity which is deciding the duration of the project, or you can see the longest path in the project. So those activity which are critical activities will have always the earliest date and latest date same. There won't be any difference. Earliest date and latest date will be same. And the difference between the earliest date and this latest date, we call it as float. So the difference between earliest date and latest date, we call it as a float. So here we'll have a float, here we'll have a float, here we'll have a float, here also we'll have a float, but the critical activity, we will not have a float. So you were asking a doubt, how I will understand when activity is a critical path or not. If there is no float, then it means it's a critical activity. Clear? Conceptually it is clear?
Yes, Abdul.
Okay. So I want everybody to be clear because this is very, very important. Otherwise you cannot do scheduling, you cannot convince others how SAP is possible to use the schedule. So this is one of the important of project management. How do you prepare the schedule? Okay. So this is what our calculations. Now let us go back to we were talking about the dates and scheduling. Okay. Now we have scheduling, different method, network scheduling, WBS scheduling, and all those things. So there are different scenarios are there. Okay. So, okay. One more thing I just want to say you. So here we are talking about forward scheduling and backward scheduling. So what does that mean? So here we found in any scheduling there will be both. Forward also will be there, backward also will be there. That's for sure, because you are not going to, we cannot avoid that. But if SAP says I have forward scheduling, it means my forward pass will be first. So system start date is mandatory. Okay. Because if I am saying my SAP settings are forward scheduling, or in my projects I am using forward scheduling, it means I am saying the system, you start forward pass first. So system will ask you the start date. The other way around, if I am talking about I have backward scheduling, then it means the same thing, but I will start with backward pass first, which will take place first, and my finish date will be mandatory. So this is the difference. So for example, if you have a forward pass or backward pass, both are required for scheduling. But if I'm saying my scheduling type is forward scheduling or backward scheduling, so here I'm just telling the system which pass has to be taken care first. That's it. So the second pass system will take care automatically, because system has to take care both the pass, forward pass and backward pass. then only system will be able to decide the earliest date and latest date. Only thing is what we are saying, we are just telling the system which date has to be calculated first. That's it. Okay, so then this next is scenario. We have a bottom-up scenario. A bottom-up scenario, it means your network activities will decide the date of the project or WBS dates. So the lowest level it will consider and transfer and reach up to the project level. So this is one scenario. You can use bottom-up scenario. So most of the cases, especially construction project and those kind of things, normally uses bottom-up scenarios because that is the best option, because you can first decide, list down all the tasks or list of activities required to execute the project. Then from that you decide what is the total date is required or duration is required for that project. Okay. Then also there is available top-down scenario, because we talk about there are certain projects, especially the shutdown projects or maintenance projects and all those things. Those normally the WBS decides the duration, because for this area I need to take shutdown during this period, something like that. Higher level planning will be done. Then that will be rolled out to the lower levels of the activities and the maintenance orders and tasks and all those things. So those kind of scenario normally uses the top-down scenario. So that is also possible in SAP. You can tell from whether you want to calculate from bottom up or top down, both are available. Then what are the things when you are talking about SAP, what are the fields or the values which we are maintaining is considered to calculate the duration? Because in the Excel, I just put the only of duration I put it, but how the system is considering, that is important. One is from the internal processing activities, it checks the duration. So if you maintain the duration and the time unit, that will consider it. Okay. Then normally for this internal activity, we normally maintain a work center. Okay. So the work center will be considered for the operating time. So suppose you have a work, you are maintaining it here. Let's say you have 2 days of work, but total hours of work is involved is 15 hours. So the duration can be calculated based on that one. So how the system will take, there is two things. One is you can consider your operating time, okay, because normally operating time will be, most of the time it will be 8 hours. So the operating time is decided or determined by the work center which you are assigning to that activity. So when you assign a work center, so in the work center we will mention what is operating time, then that will be the activity's operating time. If you don't assign the work center, then system will consider all 24 hours as a working hours. So if I put 15 hours for a activity without work center, then the duration will be 1 day, or I mean less than 1 day. If I put a work center with 8 hours, then it will be considered as a 2 day, something like that. Okay. Then we have external processing. External processing, service activity, external processing and service, mostly because we will be, I will also using, and mostly people will use external service activity only for subcontracting purpose. So external processing activity, the durations are calculated from the planned delivery time. So there is a field called planned delivery time. Here, what is the difference is, when you are talking about an internal processing activity, it decides the operating time, okay, for the work, to calculate the work. Second thing, the duration which is, or the count is considered based on your factory calendar. So you assign a factory calendar, there will be 5 days working. So the system also will consider only 5 days. But when you're talking about an external activity, so if you're asking one vendor or supplier to do some kind of delivery, you say 30 days. It doesn't mean 30 working days. Always we talk about calendar days. So same thing in SAP also. So external processing, whatever you are putting the planned delivery time, that will be calculated based on your calendar days. Then we have general cost activity. So if you are using it, yes, there is also, this is also considered the duration and time unit. Then similarly, the relationship also, you can assign a work center and decide the operating time. because in the relationship there is a functionality, we call it as a fixed or offsetting to certain percentage. You want to offset this relationship because there is a concept lead lag. I will come to that one when you're talking to it. So those details will be calculated based on, so there is an option you can assign a work center to the relationship, then that work center can decide what is the durations for that. And this is what we are talking about the floor. Yeah.
Question here.
Yes.
Yeah, basically this key date, plan delivery time and duration. So I don't want to consider as a factory
Sorry,
calendar date.
your voice
Is
is
there
breaking.
any way the continuous 30 days I want to consider?
Where in internal processing?
Because of in plant maintenance, if you see the in scheduling, we can
You are saying your
do
internal
that.
activity also to be calendar
Key
based.
date, if I'm scheduling.
So for internal
Okay.
internal
So
activity,
the basically what I'm expecting, I don't want to consider.
you
No,
don't
in
want to
external
consider the
processing.
holidays, right?
I don't want to consider the calendar.
Yeah, it means
Yeah.
every day is working for you. I don't know. Anyway, your voice is
Yes,
breaking.
yes.
So
Basically, I just want to 30 working days. I just want to consider.
yeah. Okay. So for that, your calendar, factory calendar, you can make it that way. The factory calendar, that holiday calendar will be whole day working day. So it will work like that. So you can create a factory calendar for that. What is the
But
problem?
factory calendar is common for all the.
No, you can create
Factory
multiple
calendar
factory
is
calendars.
for common for all the.
Agreed, but you create another factory calendar and use it. What is the problem? Create one more factory calendar. No, doesn't mean you have to create. You have to use only one factory calendar. You can have n number of factory calendar. So maybe you have Z1 for your normal duration. It means 5 working days. Then you can have Z7 or something like that, which is called 7 days working. Then you use it for that. So maybe Z5 for 5 working days, Z6 for 6 working days, Z7 for 7 working days. So you can create as many factory calendar as you require. Then you create similarly holiday calendar also. Some holiday calendar you will use your national holidays, maybe based on your government legal requirement. Then something you can create it without that. You will say no holiday, every day is working. So 365 days working calendar also possible. So there is not an issue.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the things. So I'll just run through this slide once more. Then the next class we will do in the system. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir Lalit.
Yeah, Rich.
Sir, you got my screenshot I shared with the.
No, I did not get it. I told him, I spoke to him. So then, so what I can do, if you want, I can give you the right. You can share it for me right now, if it's possible.
Sir, I don't have mobile number or something.
If that is okay, I will give you the right to present. You can present it. We can see it.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah.
I will share the
So
screenshot.
yeah, I'll just stop recording. Okay.